First I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Shem Yahushai, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to you brothers out there that's listening and learning and supporting the ministry, and shalom to the sisters as well. And I want to address something that I've heard a lot over the years, mainly from these Lone Ranger, you got certain guys that they find out they're Israelites, and what they do is, we know that there are various camps out there, Great Millstone, ICPK, IUIC, the list goes on, and a lot of us have got different doctrines, that we teach according to the scriptures. All right, and what they do is they try and listen to all these different camps, and they try and piece it all together and come up with their own special brew or version of the truth. And the first thing they'll like to say is none of these camps have the truth. A lot of guys say, oh, they don't believe in camps, which first of all, a camp is biblical. That's what the Lord's setting up. All right, the camp is basically the holy congregation of the saints. When you go into the scriptures tell you quite plainly that the Lord was setting up a church. In fact, he built his church upon Peter, right? And not just Peter, but you had the other apostles. There was order when the Lord set up his church, and he used particular men to be shepherds over the churches, to grow this the gospel, and guided those men and gave those men authority. And whenever a matter arised, he put the spirit on those men to search out that matter in the way of truth, right, for the edification of his church, his elect. And here it is, we're in these last days, the Lord is restoring his church, so that when he comes, he can receive his church, man, as a chaste virgin. So my belief is that in these times, the Lord is gonna set up men to edify his church, his camp, or camps, if you want to put it that way. All right, and there's gonna be specific men set up to do that, man, who are gonna be pushing a specific spirit, which is a specific doctrine, man. And if they're going off on anything, it's also my faith and belief that the Lord, having love for his church, is gonna correct that through those men. Okay. Now, if you're saying that the Lord, none of these camps have the truth, pretty much you're saying that the Lord has forsaken his church. He's forsaken his people. All right? Because at the end of the day, man, the Lord is going to give certain men his truth to edify his church. Now, if you got the truth, since you're the guy that can go out there and rebuke everybody, then shouldn't the Lord be using you to build up his church? But he ain't, because you ain't got the truth. Okay, all right, and that's the thing. And then I just want to bring a couple scriptures out, and I'm sure brothers will have more scriptures they can post on the comment board and go into it. But I got a couple scriptures here, man. It's one of my favorite scriptures, Ephesians 4:1. It says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called. All right, and I believe that I've been called into a vocation, man, to teach this word, man, and I've been taught myself, by the elders and apostles of Great Millstone in the spirit. Okay, and I still look to those men, because I believe those are men of great spiritual authority over the church. And yes, I believe that Great Millstone, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, they have the truth, and the spirit of truth is dealing with them. All right. See, I trust in Yahushua and his program, and I believe he's running his program through those men. Now, are there men outside of Great Millstone who are men of the Lord? Yes, the ones who are teaching the same doctrine and obey the same authority. Because that's how this thing works, man. The Lord is building a church, man. He's building a camp, an organization, if you want to put it that way, a body. It says, with all lowliness and meekness, with suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body and one Spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. Okay, so part of the camp and the church that the Lord is raising up is that we're going to be in unity in spirit and faith. That's why you got heads, man, to oversee. But unto every one of us is given grace according to the measure of the gift of Yahushua. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. Now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. And he gave some apostles, and some prophets, and some evangelists, and some pastors and teachers, for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Yahushua. So the Lord's going to set up different men in different positions within the church for the edification of his church. So for you to say that no camp has the truth, then basically you're saying that the Lord ain't set nothing up. Because the Lord is going to set up a camp. He's going to set up a church which is going to grow, which is going to be fruitful unto righteousness and all truth. All right? It says, till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Yahushua, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro, carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love, may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Yahushua. So the Lord set up men. He set up a ministry. He set up a church, a camp, to do this in these last days, which I believe that's Great Millstone. Now, you might believe that's ICPK, you might believe that's IUIC or whatever church or camp is out there, but for you to say no camp has the truth, then you're doubting the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, and you ain't really faithful to Yahushua. You don't believe in Yahushua's power, that the Lord wouldn't leave us comfortless, that the Lord wouldn't forsake us, man. Because is it not written that the Lord is faithful? And he's so faithful that in these last days, he didn't leave us in darkness. He raised up men, man. Spiritual men, men of authority to oversee the flock and to bring forth his truth, bring forth his light, man. You don't believe that? Romans 10 and 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. How then shall they call on him whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful of the feet of them that preach the gospel and bring glad tidings of good things. So the Lord is going to set up men. He's going to send certain men, man, that are going to have the truth and have that authority to teach the truth to the edification of the church, man, of the camp. Now, I believe that's the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, based upon what I've seen, based upon my faith. All right? And if you ain't sure, then you better pray to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, that he reveal it unto you. Where it's at, man. Where is the spirit of Yahushua resting? Now you're going to get guys say, no, it's in every man. We all know that the Lord is going to deal with the elect. He's going to sup with the elect, man. But everything is done in decency and in order. Did not the Lord have certain men that he set up to teach back then? So he's going to have certain men that are set up now to teach. And the Spirit of the Lord was dealing with those men. And other men came in and followed those men. Men like Paul, men like Peter, men like John. And you had other apostles which were underneath them. So my question is who are those men today? Who are those men today? A lot of you don't believe in spiritual authority. You don't believe in the work of the ministry. You don't believe in the program that the Lord has set up, man. Who are those men today? And if you're saying that none of these camps have the truth, then it must be you. So you should be out there pushing the word hard, but you're not, because you're not those men. The Spirit ain't on you. The Spirit is on the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, man, and the men on down that are sincere on them to push this truth, man, to diligently seek out the truth and teach it. We're the only one, and you know, one of the doctrines which I know for a fact the apostles and elders are gotta be those men, because the apostles and elders are the only ones that are teaching that you're gonna have Israelites that look like other nations, man. That's gonna come into this gospel, man. And that's the purity of this gospel. That's the purity of the spirit of this ministry, man. And none of these other camps are really pushing that. That's how I know that they're off in the spirit. 100%, man. Because what Great Millstone are teaching, that lines up perfectly with what the work that the Lord declared is going to happen in the scriptures, man. But that's my belief and my faith. You got to search it out for yourself. But like I said, man, for you to say that the Lord ain't dealing with no camp, with none of the churches, that's blasphemy, man. And that's showing a distinct lack of faith. Hebrews 13:5. It says, let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things that ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, man. Now, you could talk about material things. The Lord ain't going to forsake us in that matter. But he ain't going to forsake us in the spiritual things of this truth, man. He going to raise up men. He's going to raise up men to give us the truth. He's going to raise up his church in these last days, man, that he may meet this church, man, and fill his church with wisdom and understanding, man, and with order and beauty. His camp. And the Lord is going to have a camp. That's in Joel the 2nd chapter. The Lord said when he comes, he's going to utter his voice before his camp, and his camp is great. So we know that the Lord is setting up a camp, a holy congregation of Israelites, man. But you saying that don't exist, basically. Anyway, man, you know, if brothers got any other comments or any other scriptures, they could bring it out. I just wanted to discuss this quickly, man, and address this thing about no camp has the truth. There's going to be a camp that has the truth, man. And that camp is going to publish that truth throughout the world, because that's the gospel, the truth. Shalom.